Tonight, the Defence Force rocked by another devastating incident. An experienced soldier killed in a parachute training accident at Jervis Bay. Chaos in Lakemba, a driver killed, 3 more injured in a 9-car crash. Just hours until a once-in-a-generation budget is handed down, the government set to break an election promise to deliver mammoth reform. Triple killer Julian Ingram's deadly end revealed as Lake Cargelligo searches for closure. High anxiety in the centre of Sydney. Our top cop slams the daredevil behind this dangerous stunt. And the Magic Man returns for Magic Round. Latrell Mitchell declared fit.
This is 10 News Sydney with Sandra Sully.
Good evening. First tonight, he is being described as one of our finest. Warrant Officer Lachlan Muddle, a Special Forces sniper and Afghanistan veteran, has been killed in a parachuting training exercise on the state's south coast. It is eerily similar to the tragedy that claimed the life of another young soldier just 2 years ago. This latest death sparking new safety questions.
He was one of our best. Warrant Officer Lachlan Muddle, an SAS soldier who served in Afghanistan, killed in peacetime.
In a tight-knit community like ours, his loss has been very deeply and immediately felt.
The 50-year-old was instructing a specialist parachuting training exercise at Jervis Bay Airfield last night, a routine jump which turned deadly.
After successfully opening their parachutes, both paratroopers collided several hundred feet above the ground whilst they were manoeuvring towards the drop zone.
A sergeant survived the fall, suffering minor injuries. He was the first to help the senior soldier, but his efforts and that of paramedics were not enough.
Both paratroopers were highly skilled. Between the two of them, they had several thousand jumps to their credit.
Warrant Officer Lachlan Muddle joined the Australian Army in 1994 and served for more than 30 years. An expert sniper and military freefall parachutist, he was among our most capable soldiers.
He'll be remembered for his sense of humour and his genuine and deep commitment to serving the nation.
From the Prime Minister today, this tragic accident is a stark reminder that there are no easy days for those who defend our nation.
The Defence Force trains as it fights, and so there is necessarily risk. Lachlan Muddle's sacrifice is as meaningful and significant as any of those on the battlefield.
This training tragedy unfolded around 5:30 last night. As the sun was setting, the paratroopers were wearing night vision goggles and jumped from a commercial civilian aircraft. It is the second death of its kind in 2 years. In 2024, Lance Corporal Jack Fitzgibbon, the son of former Defence Minister Joel Fitzgibbon, died in a routine parachute training exercise at the RAAF Richmond base in northwest Sydney.
Since then, we have undertaken a very thorough review of our parachuting system. I am very confident in the safety system as a whole.
As the defence community reels from another death, a heartbroken family is preparing for a funeral.
Well, John Paul Gonzo joins us now live from Jervis Bay tonight. JP, an investigation is now underway.
Sandra, Defence is trying to determine exactly what caused that deadly mid-air collision. One line of inquiry likely to be if any of the paratroopers involved suffered a medical episode during that training exercise. In the meantime, the Army has confirmed that all personnel parachuting operations right around the country have been suspended as an urgent review gets underway. They will stay suspended until the Chief of Army is satisfied it is safe to resume those operations. As for the family of Warrant Officer Lachlan Muddle, they were informed of this tragedy last night and they are being supported by Defence. Sandra, a long investigation to come, but this tragedy has shocked not just this tight-knit community, but the wider Defence family.
No doubt. All right, John Paul Gonzo reporting there. Thank you. A man has died and 3 people have been taken to hospital, including his wife, after a 9-car crash in Lakemba. Police now investigating if the driver had a medical episode as the mammoth cleanup continues.
Streams of cars flow down Canterbury Road before all of a sudden, impact. A red sedan ploughs into a number of vehicles in a fatal head-on collision.
Just heard the big bang, eh? Yeah, just heard cars crunching up. Just carnage, mate. Cars everywhere and people running around.
9 cars were hit in total. It all began half a kilometre up the road. The red sedan clipping an SUV, forcing it to land on top of a pole. Nearby workers running to the woman inside's aid.
What we did, we made sure this lady in this vehicle was all right, and then after we've checked down there, but from the scene it didn't look very good.
As the car takes off at speed, accelerating into oncoming traffic.
Awful, and God blessing his soul.
The Lakemba community coming out in force to help before first responders arrived, but there was nothing they could do for the man in his 80s who died at the scene.
Hopefully the people was safe and they're not that harmed badly.
Canterbury Road has been closed for hours today. Drivers diverted around the scene. Tow trucks arriving this afternoon as police look at whether the driver may have had a medical episode. His partner, a woman in her 70s, was initially trapped. She's since been taken to hospital in a critical condition. 2 other patients were also transported, both in a stable condition. A horror crash that's claimed a life and impacted many others. Zoe Martin, 10 News.
It was the worst kept secret in Canberra, but tonight the Prime Minister and the Treasurer have confirmed they will break an election promise with changes to tax settings on investment properties. The federal government is claiming that it will help tens of thousands of young Australians buy their first home. Senior political correspondent Chloe Burris begins our coverage.
Reflecting on his 5th federal budget, Treasurer Jim Chalmers says he isn't taking the easy path. Against the backdrop of a global oil shock, soaring inflation and rising interest rates.
These are reasons to act more decisively and with more urgency, not to kick the can down the road on some of these difficult issues that we take on tonight.
The federal government confirming it's rewriting the rules around negative gearing and the capital gains tax discount, which are often blamed for housing unaffordability.
The intersection of the housing market and the tax system makes things too hard for too many Australians, and particularly younger Australians.
Going where millennials and Gen Zs are, social media, to announce the changes a short time ago.
This is about doing the right thing to help more young Australians buy a home of their own.
This is a budget built on lies.
He is going to kneecap the pathway for young Australians to be able to work for their own future and to save.
It'll help, but it'll only help a bit. There is no magic wand in housing.
This is the most significant tax reform in a quarter of a century, and the federal government insists it'll help 75,000 first home buyers, hoping that will be enough for voters to forgive a broken promise.
These changes will be hotly contested. And that's just fine by me.
I don't trust them as far as I can throw them.
There will be tax perks with a no receipts needed $1,000 instant deduction for workers, the $20,000 instant asset write-off made permanent for small businesses, plus an expected tax handout of $250 for workers in next year's tax return.
It's 1 coffee a week, basically.
Dr Denial, the Treasurer, has ignored the problems of inflation and Australian household budgets have been eaten into.
We know there's a $10 billion fuel security package for a government-owned reserve and private loans, $53 billion in defence spending over the next decade. Money too for housing and urgent care clinics. The biggest saving will come from reducing the number of participants on the NDIS.
Best thing you can do for younger Australians is having a healthy budget. Don't leave them with a huge debt.
Tonight we take a series of right decisions for the right reasons. Tonight we choose the hard road of reform, not the path of least resistance.
Chloe Burris, 10 News.
I want to bring in our federal political reporter Matthew Carstuna now, who is outside the budget lockup at Parliament House. Good evening, Matt. What will those changes to capital gains tax and negative gearing actually mean for Aussies?
Well, good evening, Sandra. The exact details of this announcement will be made public in just over 2 hours' time when the Treasurer delivers his speech to Parliament here. But the focus is housing. Of course, the push and the real sell from the government is getting more young Australians access to the housing market. Of course, on average, the age of a first home buyer here in Australia is now 35 years old, and it takes around 11 years for someone to save enough money for that first home deposit. As we just heard in Chloe's story, though, the opposition going hard on the government, saying given they went to this election last year saying there were no changes on the table, now very much opposite of the case. So shortly we'll know more. Of course, all of the journalists in the press gallery behind me are in budget lockup going through the finer details. The other question really is, will there be any other budget surprises, all revealed very shortly? Sandra.
Indeed. All right, Matt, thank you. And tune in to 10's Late News for a special federal budget edition. Network political editor Ashley Raper and our national affairs editor Hugh Riminton will break down the winners and losers of the budget and what it means for you. That's tonight here on 10 at 9:40. Now to a discovery that ended a major manhunt for a killer in the state's west. Tonight we can show you where rangers found what's believed to be Julian Ingram's body. Investigations are continuing into exactly when he died after shooting dead 3 people. And a warning to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers that the following story contains images of a person who has died.
In a national park 100 kilometres northwest of Lake Cargelligo, the ute Julian Ingram used to flee his crimes. Beside it, a heavily decomposed body believed to be that of the triple murderer.
It appears that he's gone directly to this location.
Police also found 2 guns.
There was a firearm located next to the deceased body, which was a large calibre firearm, and a shotgun located on the front seat.
On January 22, the 37-year-old shot dead his heavily pregnant ex-girlfriend Sophie Quinn, her friend John Harris and aunt Nerida Quinn, wounding the sole survivor, 19-year-old Caleb McQueen.
There was fear in the community of what Mr Ingram may do. So we hope that there is some calm and reassurance given to the community of Lake Cargelligo.
4 months down the track, I think some people are quite happy that we're going to see some closure.
The 4-month search saw more than 100 officers search hundreds of kilometres, battling at times gruelling conditions with soaring temperatures. Then yesterday, the abandoned ute was discovered by National Park rangers conducting pest control.
It's probably the area in between the 2 major search areas that we haven't searched.
We are talking about hundreds of kilometres of land out there, really vast properties that have sheds that we've had to search. So the actual reason why it wasn't located, obviously we'll discover further as we go through.
Also being probed under a critical incident investigation, the decision by police to grant Julian Ingram bail late last year while facing domestic violence charges.
It's appropriate that investigation takes place, but I want to make it really clear the New South Wales Police Force takes domestic and family violence serious.
Tonight, family members continue to grieve after 4 months hoping for justice. Hannah Stewart, 10 News.
5 Australians on board the virus-stricken ship have been evacuated to the Netherlands, with plans now underway for their transfers back home. When they return, they will undergo 3 weeks of quarantine as new hantavirus infections emerge from the deadly cruise.
Touchdown after the holiday that became a health emergency. The 4 Australians, 1 permanent resident and a New Zealander evacuated from the hantavirus-hit cruise ship are said to be in good health and relatively good spirits.
We have put in place the strongest quarantine arrangements I can find anywhere in the world of the 24 countries that are having passengers repatriated from this cruise ship.
All passengers now evacuated from the Honduras vessel. The captain of the virus-stricken ship thanking passengers and crew for their patience and discipline.
The past few weeks have been extremely challenging to us all.
The Australian government-supported charter flight has now arrived in the Netherlands. It wants passengers back in the air en route to Australia within 48 hours. After refuelling stops, a second charter flight will land at a Perth RAF base where passengers will quarantine for 3 weeks at a facility in Bullsbrook, purpose-built in response to the COVID pandemic. They'll be cared for by staff from the National Critical Care and Trauma Response Centre from Darwin, not WA health staff, unless
a passenger becomes very, very unwell. They may have to be transported to a Perth hospital.
A French passenger, the latest in critical care, suspected of being infected with the virus usually spread by rodents.
Passengers, you're now in good hands.
We were very worried. If you stayed longer in the ship, the situation could have been difficult.
The government is now working to secure a company and crew willing to fly the group home, given the strict medical and isolation requirements. 42 days is the guide, the lengthy ordeal not over yet. Sarah Naven, 10 News.
Tara Rushton is here now to preview sport, and Tara, the Rabbitohs have literally pulled a rabbit out of the hat ahead of the Magic Round.
They have indeed, Sandra. Such good timing. Latrell Mitchell returns from back injury, set to start in Friday night's clash with the Dolphins. They're hungry for more. Why the Jets are backing themselves to end Sydney FC's season on Saturday. And cue the celebrations. He's got him. Or has he? Look at these smooth moves from the umpire. So did he just have something on his hat? We'll tell you a little later in sport.
Can't wait. Thanks, Tara. See you then. Stay with us. Still to come, a brazen heist in broad daylight. Shots fired as a man allegedly steals hundreds of thousands of dollars from an Armaguard van. Firebombing breakthrough. Police arrest 2 men over a spate of arson attacks at childcare centres in our northwest. And absolutely stupid. The police commissioner slams a climber for this sky-high stunt.